computer loading, Google thinking. Maybe. Denise, are you with us? Or, I mean, I see that you're here. Hang on. Possibly. Oh, I think I can barely hear you, Denise. Do you have a problem with your microphone, maybe?
I tried to fix it.
My volume is all the way up, but I can't. I mean, I hear you like maybe you're the minimum level of microphone. Elia, can you hear Denise? Because I can barely hear. I mean, it's like.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you.
What about me? Is it okay?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure.
Okay. All right. So is this it for today, the three of us?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. All right. So the topic today, hi, everyone. It's been a while, hasn't it? Sorry about last week. I was my voice was barely there, and I didn't think that it was going to be possible to have a conversation club, but I'm okay now. My nose is a bit stuffy, but you can hear me, I hope, and my voice is strong, so that's what matters. I hope everyone else is doing well, because there's all different kinds of crazy stuff going around. I don't know. I mean, if it's not the flu, it's some other cold. So what can you do? Just stay well and warm. But anyway, today we're talking about me time, and that kind of, I guess, maybe is related to staying healthy, isn't it? You know, having time for yourself, to take care of yourself, to do what you like to do, to have fun, you know, to feel like there's something that you have to look forward to. So I think there are a lot of different things that you'll hear nowadays about creating me time. You know, what exactly is it? How do you get it when you have other responsibilities in life? So let's maybe talk a bit about this, because, you know, time for hobbies, time for doing what you want to do. That's really important. It's really important that we have that time. How do we get that time? That's maybe another question, because there's so many, like I said before, so many responsibilities that we have. And it's a matter of, you know, finding that balance. So the first question I have is, do you have free time? Denise, let's start with you. Do you have free time?
Yes, of course, because for me it's impossible to spend all time on my work or on some home jobs. So I usually have some minimum time which I spend on hobbies or something else. For me, it's impossible to have no free time.
Okay. All right. Ellie, what about you? Do you have free time?
I have some free time, but not so much as I wished, or I would wish. I don't know how is it correctly.
I would like to have.
Yeah,
maybe I would like to have, or wish that I had. Yeah, there are different ways to say it, but I understand what you mean. Okay, I don't know. I mean, I don't feel like I really do have that so-called free time. I'm always doing something, whether it's working or cleaning or cooking or, you know, doing something with my child. It's like there's always something. So I don't think I really have free time, although I don't think that's ever been the case. I mean, I always am the type of person who wants to keep busy. If I'm not keeping busy, I don't know, I feel like maybe somehow I'm not being productive and I'm not happy. So for me, it's kind of important to be busy, to have some sort of, I don't know, how would you say it, like engagement in that sort of thing. I suppose maybe if I really wanted to, I could have free time. But then, like I said, for me personally, I wouldn't really feel effective. And that's not so good for me. I mean, psychologically speaking, although I think maybe I do get a bit worn out, but yeah, it's neither here nor there. They're different types of people. And I know people who are always busy too, and they're fine. I mean, yeah, you're a bit stressed, but it's just kind of your character. So I don't know. But what about stressed? I mean, what do you do to keep yourself from getting stressed in general? Alia, what do you do to keep yourself from being stressed?
You know, for me, it is sometimes very difficult because when I'm stressed, I'm just shout, and then I understand that it wasn't worth doing so. Then I try to begin breathing, and that's in sudden situations. And in general, I like meditating. I like some um, um, spa, something connected with spa. I don't know what is it, процедуры.
Okay, so yes, spa treatment. Spa treatment.
Spa treatment, and so and as for doing, when I was a bit younger, I liked knitting, but today I don't do that because I don't know. I think it needs lots of patience. I don't have enough patience now for knitting or sewing or things like that. Um, but I like makeup, doing makeup for the others, for myself and for the others, and painting the brows. Maybe it sounds
Oh,
crazy, but
eyebrow artist.
yes, eyebrows. So, and it sounds crazy, but I really relax doing that. So I think that's my hobby.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Denise, what about you? What do you do so you don't get stressed out?
Hmm. For me, probably most important thing to is avoid stress. But if I already stressed, I prefer reading books or sometimes play a computer game. It's a good way to switch out from a problem I'm trying to solve or something else, and uh, after some time find a better decision or better way. I often when I work, I sometimes meet with a problem that a little bit harder than my current experience. And I find that very good way. Sometimes it's a take a break and trying again. But at the break time, I should completely forgot about the problem I was trying to solve. So for me, the better way is reading books or playing computer games.
Okay, so books, computer games, and that's a good way to distress. I'm trying to think. I mean, what do I do if I don't have anything? Well, even if I do have something to do in the evening, before I go to sleep or something like that, sometimes I like to watch some sort of something on television that isn't, I don't know, just like typical sort of melodramas, nothing with so much action or too much thinking, something where the plot is more or less predictable and it's just, characters and telling a story. You already kind of know what the ending is going to be, but, no surprises or anything like that. That's, to me, kind of a relaxing thing. Reading too, reading books, although, yeah, I mean, depending on what time of day, I kind of find it hard to focus my eyes to read, but I do like reading. That's definitely a good way to just kind of de-stress. Otherwise, just getting out and being a little bit physically active. To me, going for a walk, getting fresh air really helps to just focus me and get rid of a lot of that stress. So just a matter of, again, keeping that balance and what have you. But what about hobbies? Because Denise, that was what you originally had suggested for this topic. Do you have any hobbies, and can you please tell us about them?
Yes, I can say that I have some one or two main hobbies, but I have some rather big count of different hobbies, and each time I try to use some mostly interesting or mostly emotional for me. One of them, it's making a wooden ship model, but last time it's hard to continue working on it because I needed some place where I can place all details, place instruments, and I can do it less than 1 or 2 hours because master clock need some long time to gluing something to control how all this construction would be fixed later and so on. Next, I have a hobby with some kind of robotic techniques. I create a different small programmable mechanism like a remote controlled video comms or something else. It's closer to my work about programming, but it have an interesting side about some material implementation. Because usually all thing I do exists in only in computers, and doing something will be more material and affects with real world. Very interesting thing. Few years ago, I have a hobby with origami, but I don't know why. Last 5 years, probably, I'm not do anything from paper like this. But I spent much time on this. Also, reading, finding and reading different interesting books, some kind of light philosophy or something like this. Cooking also. I think
Okay, but yeah, so much stuff. I mean, how do you have time for all of this, Denise? I mean, you've got, I mean, it seems like a lot of different hobbies that you have.
I can say that I do it even once a week. Sometimes I can not find the time for some hobbies longer than a half a year. Then I can remember that, oh, I'm doing something interesting thing, I want to do it again, and then I trying to find where it was. Now remember what I do, how I do, and continue. So usually it's yes.
Well, do you have a favorite?
Oh, it's differ from time. Now, favorite hobby for me is solving different programmers tasks because it's interesting as a part of preparation to job interview. And I find that it's some kind of detective for me, finding some hard tasks and solving it. So before I spent more times on ship modeling, but now I have less place, so I switch into hobby which not need in some prepared workplace.
Okay, all right. Elia, what about you? Okay, you talked about your eyebrow art and this makeup for other people. I mean, is that a hobby? Do you have some? What do you want to tell us about that, or maybe you have something else? What do you think?
I took 5 lessons via Skype from the professional makeupper, or how is it called? The person who makes makeup.
I would say makeup artist.
Makeup artist, yes. She's working for MAC, that professional cosmetics, and just these 5 lessons just for people who is interested in this and who want to do it for themselves, not for professional or some not for business. But actually, in future, maybe I will take some more lessons because I do it for myself, for my friends, for my relatives, and they are very happy about the results. So maybe in future I will learn more about that. But now it is really like hobby. So I'm not going to be professional. I don't know. It's I do it when I like to do that. So it can't be professional. But I really enjoy that, and it's close to meditation, but you've got the result after that, and result usually that the person is happy to be more beautiful, and it's very important for women. So I'm happy too.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's really interesting. I wish that we were close because I'd want to come to you for eyebrows. I've got to do that, and I don't have time to do that. But
Okay, welcome.
got it. It's
Welcome.
just around the corner, right? No, no. I mean, it's great that you have that, and you know, it's art. It's also beauty. It's relax, like you say. I mean, it's all these things which are, really great. I mean, I wish I did something like that. I used to do nails, my own nails. I mean, more than I never do anyone else, I don't think. Maybe I did my mom a couple of times, but that was about it. But I don't know, I found that was a very relaxing, sort of interesting thing to do because, you got different colors and you want to see how, the different paints are applied and everything like that. And I kind of found that to be kind of de-stressing, just interesting hobby to have. Although I don't really have, I don't know, I feel like nowadays it's just not practical because I don't have time to let my nails dry for that. So I don't know, hobby wise, what do I do? I don't know. I don't really think I have many hobbies. Just reading, but I don't know, is that a hobby? It's more like it's reading. I don't know. But yeah, maybe organizing my computer and all the files on my computer. That's a hobby. Just trying to find, where everything is. That's kind of maybe the reality of when you've got so much stuff going on. But I need to find something. I definitely need to find something.
Yeah, no, it is really great because for me personally, I'm very disorganized person, and it's my computer. It's a real trash because from time to time my husband helps me to organize that space in my computer, and he really manages to do that perfectly. But I need just a month or two just to create the trash again.
Yeah, I need maybe a day or two to do that. But anyway, let's maybe go to the next question is there any hobby that you might like to take up? But let me, like I was saying, I'd like to maybe take up, I don't know. I'm going to think about it. But what about you, Ellie? Is there a hobby that you want to take up? And what can you do to make that happen? What do you think?
Usually I always do what I want. So if that's why I don't know how to answer that. But I wanted to say that reading is also was very interesting and important part of my life, but it was in the past because I read very fast, and nowadays I prefer slow reading. So, and actually it, nowadays it is very difficult for me to find really interesting things, because interesting means for me to read. When it is something interesting, I can't give up reading. Just I can't stop. And if it is some thick book, so you need to give up everything. It means that you need to give up cooking, you need to give up children, and now it's impossible. So maybe that's why I give up reading. But it's also very great, really.
Maybe you write maybe short stories, short fiction. What do you think?
Yes, perhaps, but today I just um, haven't opportunity to find such interesting short things.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Denise, what about you? Is there a hobby that you'd like to maybe pick up?
Yes, I think much time about some sport hobby because I'm trying different sport activities and I'm not doing feel joy much, probably except hiking, but hiking needs in extremely many time and good weather. So I want to find some sport hobby, probably something like skiing or rolling. So I continue experiments, but now I can find something which I can say it's really for me.
Okay, you got so much going on as it is, right? It's another one. You got time for every of these great hobbies. Great. I don't know when I'm thinking about what I might like to do. Maybe jewelry, like metal jewelry making, wire stuff, trying to figure out how to manipulate those sort of things. It's kind of an interesting thing I've always kind of wanted to do, but never have. Maybe that. I think, yeah, making jewelry. If I ever have time to make jewelry, I'm going to do that, and then maybe wear it too. What about me time? Do you think that this proverbial me time, do you think it's possible when you've got lots of responsibilities at home and work and so forth and so on? I mean, you seem to make it work. So how do you make it work then, Denise? Is it possible? According to you, it absolutely is. I mean, what do you do?
Mm, I try to. Usually, I shouldn't spend on my work too much time as scheduled before, because theoretically I have a 8 hours work day, but if I well organized all tasks I really have, I can usually spend generally less time and obtain additional time to hobbies or something else. Also, I try and organize all home tasks to not spend much time on it. So use sometimes use a partially prepared food or buy some part of product for cooking throughout internet with delivery and not to spend time going to food shop and something else. So if organized home works well and organized work efficient way too, I think it's not problem to obtain some time. But I have some periods when I should spend more time on work than I want, and yes, in such days I have less or have no at all time to my hobbies.
Okay, so just finding that not working so much. I mean, that seems to be very efficient in terms of finding time for your hobbies, and you definitely have a lot of them. So it's a good approach. It's a good method. Elia, what about you? Do you have this so-called me time, and do you think it's possible when you've got a lot of responsibilities at home and work? I mean, what do you think?
I think it's not even possible. I think it's necessary to have, and it doesn't matter what is it, because for me personally, um, I am becoming mad if I don't have that me time. Maybe it's just me time, um, just not speaking, not doing anything, just being in silence, and it's very important for me. It's essential for me because without that I become crazy, I become nervous, and that's not good for everyone around. So for those who around, the people knows that my mm, uh, that's my creature, and they give me that opportunity to be alone for some time and to do what I want, because otherwise it would be much worse for everyone.
I understand. I understand. Yeah. I mean, that's just like the right attitude. Both of you guys have the right attitude. Absolutely. And I don't have it. And yeah, it's not so good. But I just don't think it's possible when I've got the responsibilities that I do. Either it's work or, you know, taking care of the house or taking care of my child. And I don't know. I mean, for me, it's almost like it's irresponsible to just put that all aside and do something else. But maybe that's the wrong approach. And again, it's, I think, my kind of character that always has to be busy. And if I'm not busy, I feel like I'm not being productive. And again, this is like a psychological complex on my part. But I'm looking at you, Denise, and I'm looking at you, Ellen. I think like you have the right answer. I've got to be more like you. Absolutely. So what about this question? Do you think maybe it's easier for men or for women to take time for these hobbies? What do you think? Men or women? Do you think there's a difference, Denise?
Yes, I'm afraid to unmute. Generally, I think it's not dependent at gender much, but from
Gender.
gender. Yes, it's a Russian style pronunciation. Sorry, gender. But from way how to organize own life. But really, in meditation, women are trying to take more responsibilities and have no experience how to properly organize implementation of such responsibilities. This causing spending much time on rather hard houseworks or not efficient work at job. It's a decrease available time to hobbies, decrease me time. But I think it's not some predefined or really gender differences. It's some kind of social traditions or something like this.
Okay, social traditions. Yeah, yeah. I think that's true. Like what sort of expectations there are and what sort of help you're willing to give out. Elliot, what about you? What do you think? Do you think it's easier for men or women? What do you think? Is there a gender divide? Sorry about that. When it comes to me time and free time and hobbies.
Generally, I think it is. People said that it should be more difficult for women, but I don't agree with this position, because I think I agree with Denise that it doesn't depend on gender. I think it depends on personality, because of course women have more responsibilities, children, housework, and things like that. But I think men, they also have some responsibilities, and mostly the main responsibility to work, to earn money, to do the work. And I think for men it is also very difficult to find their me time, and it depends on personality, I think. And I think that there are two groups of people. Some really need that me time, and the others can live without it. I think that's the point.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, this isn't really so much about gender; it's more about personality type and that sort of thing. I think that you find a lot of literature nowadays that says that yes, maybe it's harder for women to have that free time because of the societal expectations that have been put on women, because more and more women are working outside the home, plus have the responsibilities of the home. And if all of that burden is on that gender, then you have the issue of when do you get that free time? Of course, I mean, every situation is different. There are plenty of men that help out around the house and what have you, but sorry about that. But that's the sort of thing. So you'll find a lot of literature that says, okay, but how do women do it? You know, you see a lot of advertisements and things like that where it's quite funny when men are trying to take care of the house so the woman can go out and, you know, have a nice time. But again, I mean, it's a societal thing. It's an individual thing. It's probably not fair to make those sort of generalizations, but like I say, you know, you can find plenty of blog posts and stuff like that where you do see those gender differences, at least in the English speaking world, you know, but again, they're different societal issues at play there. What about what you can do to make more time for yourself? And what do you think? What can you do to make more time for yourself?
First of all, just to be more organized. So the more you organize your everyday routines, the more free time you can manage um, to have. Is there some problem with connection? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Looks like Daniela only on mute.
Daniela? Denise, can you hear Daniela?
No. I only see a mute sign in Hangout UI.
Yes, yes, I see that too. Maybe something happened there.
Looks like, yes. So
Hello?
Yes, now we can hear you. Welcome.
I don't know. Hang on, you guys. There's something really weird again with this Google thing. But you can hear me now.
yes, fine.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Hang on. There we go. All right. Again, like, yeah, taking time for yourself. What about you, Denise? I mean, when it comes to taking time for yourself?
I think very important thing is be more organized, as Elia told. And another important thing is attain ability to switch between different activities. For me, usually I need much time to switch between my works or hobby, between hobby and some house works, between housework and work. Usually, if I work home, I spend much time to switching between different activities. And for me, it's probably most wasted time thing than very hard organized my life.
Okay, so yeah, organization. That definitely seems to be an important thing when it comes to finding more time for yourself. Although I don't know, I'm pretty organized, and I have, like a list of things to do, and I'm doing those things, but it still doesn't kind of help that situation. But that maybe gets to another question about this. Do you think that maybe being busy is a hobby in and of itself? I mean, because I'm trying to think about me and some of my friends and when we keep busy and what have you. What do you think? Do you think that keeping busy is a hobby? Elia, what do you think?
I don't know. Uh, keeping busy, what does it mean? Does it mean that you're active doing something that is necessary, but that's not your hobby? I can't quite understand. What does it mean?
Well, I mean, keeping busy, like if you always have something to do. I mean, do you know people like that?
I know that people are faster or slowly, but what does it mean keeping busy? All people are busy all the time.
I'm just saying, like maybe someone who, who doesn't have that time for hobbies or something like that. Someone who instead of going and building a model car or model boat, like you were saying, Denise, instead of doing that, that person will decide to take on an extra project at work for work, that sort of thing.
Yes, there's maybe like hobby, but not hobby. It is much, I think hobby, it is something that is very easy, not so important, and just for relaxing. And those people, they are, there are people they call shopaholics, and I think there should be some another word that workaholics or the
Yeah,
people.
workaholic there absolutely is. I think workaholic came out before shopaholic, to tell you the truth. But yeah, I know what you're meaning.
The same. Yes, I know such people. I think that my mom is the kind of those people, but I think it's really very difficult to um, to keep that speed all the time life. For me personally, I can't understand how is it possible.
Okay, all right, okay, that's fair enough. What about you, Denise? What do you think? Do you think that those people who always are busy with work or something like that, do you think that's a hobby too, or maybe a different approach? What do you think?
For me, it's a hard question because for me, there is no sharp border between work and hobby. Sometimes I can spend additional time to study new technologies and use it on my product to make my work more like a hobby. Because usually it's possible to find a way doing job the most experienced and most interesting way. So in such cases, I can have no time to other hobby, but studying some new thing, it's a hobby to me too. And it's hard to completely differ work and hobby at all time. So for me, it's most about definitions. Yes, some people define that work is not the same as a hobby, and work is usually important, and all people should do work all the time. But it's only about way of life and definitions, how to define different things. And I have no some simple answer to this question for me.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense. I don't like I say, guys, I'm a bit different in that sense because, like I say, I mean, I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends, people close to me, they always have to keep busy. There's no real time for hobbies. It's a matter of either working or going to some, I don't know, something. Even if it's for pleasure, it seems like it's just keeping busy. Like if someone has going to an exhibit at a museum, it's like they're going and it's not for a leisure purpose, it's for like some sort of, I don't know, not business purpose, but just like for this, not just for the sake of going, but for the sake of being there and doing it. So it's like, again, keeping busy. I don't know. And I know a lot of people that are like this, and these are the same people that maybe, you know, they don't have hobbies. They're not the ones that are going skiing or, I don't know, shopping or something like that. But it's like for them, and I think I'm a bit like this too, it's just a matter of going and doing something, like keeping busy. That's kind of an important thing. Again, it's maybe a character sort of trait, and it's a bit hard sometimes to be in that sort of stage when people around you are a bit more laid back. But again, I mean, it's a way of keeping yourself interested, which is also kind of important, I think. I think. What about this question? This is another kind of difficult one because it ties into that, maybe character differences and, you know, social expectations and what have you. Do you think that maybe having a hobby is a sign of not taking other responsibilities that you have in life seriously? And again, I think this kind of gets back to maybe we were talking about gender differences and everything else, because as we talk, you know, like for men, for example, men are expected, again, this is sort of like stereotypical basics here, men are expected to be the breadwinners, go out, earn money, take care of their families. So if a man has a hobby and say isn't doing his job because of it, or maybe isn't doing as much of his job because of it, or isn't spending time with his family because of it, you know, like maybe that's a reason for his wife to say, or his family to say, hey, you're not being responsible for your family. Or if a woman, again, we're using these sort of stereotypes, if a woman has decided she's going to go to shop with her friends or go out, you know, to a cafe with her friends when her family is at home waiting for dinner or not having dinner, and dad is, I don't know, ordering Chinese takeout or something like that. Again, maybe some people will be critical of that woman, saying, hey, what about your responsibilities to your family? Or, you know, again, maybe even at the workplace, you've got people who are spending all of their time at work looking at websites for their holiday to Rome or something like that during work time. So again, like people are thinking, or maybe, you know, same thing, maybe their skydiving trip. If you're maybe talking about a hobby or coin collecting, you know, maybe people will accuse that person of not being serious about their job because they're using their lunch break at work to look at coins online or something like that. Do you think that having a hobby is a sign of not taking other life responsibilities seriously? Denise, what do you think?
I think no, because taking a sign of taking responsibility, it's taking responsibility itself. So I know some people that have less or have no some declared hobby itself, but it's not them not take responsibility for his life or some other important life thing. Also, I know much people that have a rather spending much time on hobby, but taking responsibility and doing all important things in life well. So for me, hobby can be a sign, but it's more about now time. Probably later, previous generations have a different I'm afraid it's not a different situation, different life, and some time before spending much time on hobby was a bad sign, but now I think no.
Yeah. Again, generational thing, times change, expectations change, understanding of what people need and where balance needs to be. It's a very good point to make, I think. Elia, what do you think? Do you think that if someone has hobbies, it's meaning that they're not taking other life responsibilities seriously? What do you think? Or why, too? Why is there maybe even that assumption? Do you think it's just a matter of how people used to be, what responsibilities we used to have, what, you know, that sort of thing? What do you think?
I I think it isn't connected or just not connected directly. I agree with Denise that there are lots of people without hobby and without any responsibilities, and there are some people who have hobby and lots of hobbies and very responsible for everything happening around their life and their family. So I don't think that these two things are connected.
Okay. Okay. Again, I think it's different sort of just views and norms and what have you. And again, really kind of making those priorities and balancing. I think that's what it really all comes down to. It's we talked about what I've mentioned several times is that balance. Trying to find that balance between what you need to do, what you'd like to do, and just feel good about yourself by doing all of that, and relaxing when need be too, just finding that me time, finding that free time to do whatever it is you need to do, whether it's having a hobby or taking on that extra project or sitting and doing nothing. These are all things that are options, and there's no right or wrong answer as to how we spend our time. As long as you are being productive in one way or another, or resting from all that productivity, that's what really kind of matters at the end of the day. So what do you think, in your opinion, are the ideal circumstances for having and keeping a hobby? Elia, what do you think? Like, what do you need in order to do those other things that you like doing?
Just wish to do that. I think that's the only thing, because when you wish to do something, you find possibilities, and you find how to manage that. Of course, it is good when your surroundings help you and support you in your decision to do something. But if you really want to do something, I think it doesn't matter whether they want to help you or not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. What do you think, Denise? Are there ideal circumstances for having a hobby, keeping a hobby, finding time for it? What do you think?
First point, it spending less time to work. So I'm continue watching on discussion about work hours and how much time people should spend on works. And the second point is having two places, because some of hobby needing a prepared workplace, and some places to store instruments and materials and so on. So for me, it's two main important points.
Yeah, no, I mean that is definitely work and that sort of thing. I mean, you mentioned that work time, working hours, and what have you. I think also the type of work you do is also a big factor in whether or not you have free time for your hobbies or something like that. Because if you have set hours when you're going to work, that's one thing, because you work from 9 to 5, 10 to 6, whatever, those hours are. And once you're done with those hours, you're done. If you're working based upon a project, like you have to finish this project or you have to complete this before you're done and another one is coming in, then you really don't have that same sort of freedom or just even ability to plan for hobbies or something like that, because you don't really know when your time is going to be. So I think having a set schedule is important for picking up some sort of hobbies or something like that. And again, if you have this sort of rotating work or always, this, always new projects coming in and stuff like that, it's just not going to really be conducive to a hobby sort of lifestyle. But I think that's it. Also, really wanting to do those hobbies, that's important. As we mentioned, there are people who are busy for the sake of being busy. Being busy is a hobby. Again, is there a real reason for that? Maybe it's better to focus that free time that you might have on doing something a bit more relaxing, a little bit more fun, you know, something like that. Maybe that's another thing, just that state of mind, you know, wanting to do that. That's an important condition for keeping a hobby. And I don't know, maybe just even being in a place, an environment where there are other people who might share that hobby, you know, whether it's a club or a family member or a friend, you know, something that you can encourage each other to get out and do. So it's not just you kind of saying, okay, well, I want to do this. It's more like, no, there's something that's planned and we're going to go and we're going to do it together. And it's more of not just a social experience. Maybe you have that kind of support where it seemed to be something that is part of a schedule too. I think that we talk about organization, you know, we both mentioned that as being very important. I think that organizing time and setting time aside for a hobby or something like that is also important. And if you make that part of maybe a more structured schedule, you're more bound to go ahead and do it. So it's not just something on the side, it's something that's planned. I don't know. I'm just throwing that one out there. I think that's possible as some way to have the best circumstances for having and keeping a hobby. But anyway, maybe the last question that we have is, when do you think that you're going to have some me time next? And what do you plan to do during that? Denise, what about you? What do you think? When are you going to have some free time and what are you going to do in that free time?
Oh, I will have a me time at this weekend. I think not at 8th of March, but on 9 or 10 March. And according to my plan, I would like to continue a few experiment with a new router. I reorganize home network and now trying to find a way how to avoid in Russia, most of internet providers block some sites. And now
okay,
I'm
like
working,
like LinkedIn or what all is being blocked nowadays?
Yeah. And yes, and sometimes it's unpredictable. Few times part of resources I used to my works was blocked, and I'm finding some stable automatic way to avoid blocking when I'm working from home. To not spending the time to find and set up a way for each site I need, but some automated way to upload a list of blocked site and to enable a bypass way to get access.
Okay, that sounds productive and good. I mean, I'm always up for trying to find your ways around these technical problems and technological problems because they're never fun, you know. I mean, I've got a problem with my modem too. It's extremely slow and I have no idea why, but if you put more than one device onto it, you can't do anything on any devices. So it's a bit crazy, but yeah, I like your idea of getting access to all the sites you need to get, you know, home networks. Those are very important in this day and age. Elia, what about you? When do you think you're going to have some free time next? And what do you plan to do with it?
Sorry, when I will have some free time, what will I do?
Yeah, when do you think you're going to have some me time next? And what are your plans for it when you have it?
I want to find some me time just to relax, to sleep, and to go to some spa.
Okay, so great. You like the spa. That's terrific. It really is. I'm thinking that I'll probably, hopefully, have some time this weekend. And I like to maybe go for a walk, maybe go to the beach or something like that. Just, you know, walk and get some air. And yeah, no real plans. Just that's the most important thing. No real plans.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it was nice meeting today. Do we have any ideas for our next meeting?
Yes, I wanted to say that you've got great possibility to go for a beach anywhere you like. If I would have a beach around me, I would go that very often, I think. It is great to relax.
But the wind, you got to be careful with the wind because if the wind is too strong, you can, you know, your ears can go all crazy on you. So. So for next time, any ideas for topics?
I'm not sure that it's a really interesting idea, but we can continue discussing time management questions. I remember that few times idea how to organize job well, how to organize some important thing in life well. It's interesting.
Time management. I like that. What do you think, Elia?
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree with time management. I think very interesting.
Yes, and also it will be a good continue for today's
Okay.
discussion.
I think, yeah, it is. The only thing is, guys, next Wednesday, I can't meet at this time. Can we try to figure out when would be a good time to meet next week?
Okay, what are possibilities?
Any other day.
Okay, any other day except
Except for Thursday. Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday morning, no. Any other morning, yes.
So is it morning for you?
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm completely but evening for you. Evening for you. I'm going on Moscow time. Evening. Any day except for
it is evening at in Moscow. Yes. What about you? You are in Croatia, and I think we've got about 2-3 hours.
Oh no, I'm in Los Angeles. So we've got 11 hours difference. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
So what do you think? I mean, what evening would work, guys?
Evening. I can't. I have scheduled call at Monday, so Tuesday, Thursday. No, Thursday. Tuesday, Friday. If no, Wednesday.
Okay. Should we try Tuesday for next week?
Okay for me.
Elia, is it okay for you?
Elia, you're on mute.
Sorry. Friday is better for me. I don't know if it is suitable for Denise.
Friday, okay.
Okay, so Friday at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. So see you next Friday.
Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Denise.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.